G'day guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a movie review. This is a French action film, so it's not a horror film, something a little bit different. French language, English subtitles, directed by Jan Koonen, released in 1997, and this film is called Doberman. Now this is a crazy film. It stars Vincent Cassel and Monica Bellucci, who are very well-known French actors. This is quite a few years ago, so this is before they were really well-known. So if you're a fan of French cinema, then this movie should interest you because it's got quite an impressive French cast. So the story to this one is as follows. Charismatic villain Doberman leads a gang of depraved henchmen in a world of crime, drugs, and endless violence. The gang boldly pull off a blood-soaked Paris bank heist in broad daylight under the noses of the police. One renegade cop takes the law into his own hands and makes it his mission to stop Doberman by any means necessary. So Doberman is the main character. He's Vincent Cassel, and at the start of the film, it's a really, really crazy start. It pretty much shows you how Doberman became his nickname. So you don't know his real name, but all you know that he's been referred to as Doberman. Now, at the start of the film, it takes place when Doberman was getting christened. He's at this church, and this Doberman breaks into the church, and he pretty much tackles over one of these gangsters that are at the christening, sorry. And this gangster drops his massive Magnum pistol, which is on the front there, and it lands in the baby's pram, and the baby actually holds it. So Doberman is christened with his handgun, pretty much. And because the dog knocked it into the pram, they kind of feel that this is all meant to be, and therefore that's how he got his nickname. So many years pass after the start, and now we rejoin the film when Doberman is an adult, and he's a vicious robber. He's got a gang of henchmen that are doing the robbing with him. He's got his mute girlfriend, played by Monica Bellucci, his real wife. She's a mute, but she's just as vicious as Doberman. And then you've got larger-than-life characters that are their sort of men. There's an insane priest who's really funny. He's very religious, and he's preaching the word of God all the time, although he's doing really bad things. And then there's an egomaniac who is totally in love with himself, but just as crazy as the next person. Then you've got a few other henchmen who are very colourful as well. So they're going around Paris. They're robbing any bank they want. They have no regard for the law. The police are very incompetent, and they've got no hope of bringing Doberman down. So the whole of Paris is pretty much under Doberman's control. That is until one of the best villains in movie history, in my opinion, comes on the scene. This is Detective Cristini on the back there. He is just as psychotic as Doberman and his gang. He is a really crooked cop, and he is a very vicious cop. So he's been assigned the task of bringing Doberman and his gang down, and he will stop at nothing, even if it means breaking the law and doing some pretty horrific things in order to get his man. He becomes obsessed with Doberman, and he is willing to even kill in order to get what he wants. And what he wants is the reputation of the man who brought down Doberman and his gang. So what happens from that point on is just total carnage. So to prevent myself from spoiling the film for you, that is all I'm going to say about the story. So hopefully that has left enough interest for you to not only go and see the film, but to know what I have to say about it. So now my thoughts on this movie. This is regarded as a French classic. I'd never seen it before. I was waiting for it on Amazon UK to come down in price. And after I finally got to watch it, I can see what all the fuss is about. This is a masterpiece in the genre. It's so far over the top, it's kind of like comic book violence, and that it's so exaggerated. There's a lot of explosions, there's a lot of bloodshed, there is quite, some impressive gore in this film. So gorehounds and fans of the more extreme kind of film are going to get a lot out of this one, because I actually thought it was quite nasty in some areas. But the best thing about the whole thing, there's a lot of car chases as well, so if that's your thing, you're going to like it. The best thing about it was its level of unpredictability. It's just an absolutely crazy film. And you go along for the ride, and you don't know how low these characters are going to go, especially when Detective Cristini's on the site, because he does some pretty ghastly things. There's one scene in particular where he has a grenade, and he puts it into this little baby's crib, and basically pulls the pin out and puts the baby's hand over the grenade. Now, the baby has no idea what the grenade's going to do, but he basically says to the parents of this child, "Give me the information I want, otherwise I'm going to let the baby play with the grenade and blow itself up." So that shows you just how bad Cristini is, and that is one of the most intense scenes I've seen in a very long time. But it has a combination of shocking scenes and just really, really cool violence. It is very stylized, it's gratuitous violence, but the film promises, it delivers what it promises, and that is a very, very good time. It's a 99-minute long film. At no stage does it drag. It feels like it only goes for 20 minutes, because straight from the start, you're in for a very wild ride. The characters, the actors, Vincent Cassel, Monica Bellucci, they had a whale of a time. You could tell they were really enjoying themselves. They got so much work to do. They got so much the creative sort of freedom to play with their characters. And as I said, all of these are exaggerated to the point where it's set in the real world, but it's kind of like a surreal action game, I guess you could say. So some very impressive gore, some very graphic sex, and there is some strong drug use, so it's definitely adults only. But the character of Christini, he steals the show. That cop was one bad bloke, and I really enjoyed him. He was very nasty. So it's a case of having really bad robbers against even worse cops. So there was no real good guy in the film, so you didn't know exactly who to support. At the start, you hate Doberman in his game because they're evil, but then when you see what the cops are capable of, you kind of barrack, you root for the robbers at the end. So it kind of, there's a big shift in, the tide changes with the people that you support. So it's a very, very seedy film. It's very colourful. There's a techno soundtrack. So a lot of action. It is absolutely packed with action. A lot of bloodshed, a lot of killing, a lot of explosions. Just everything you'd want from an action film. This is by far, without a doubt, with no hesitation, I am going to say that this is my favourite action film of all time. For anybody out there who is umming and ahhing about this film, get it. It is an absolute masterpiece of the genre. I'm not really into action films, but I heard about this one, so I thought I'll give it a go. But it's just so crazy. It reminded me kind of like Japanese films, and it just shows that the French can just be as crazy when they really put their mind on it. So fantastic film. Please go out there and watch it. I am giving this one a flawless score. It's a 5 out of 5. It definitely deserves its tag as a classic. This is a masterpiece of the genre, and I'm highly recommending everyone to go out there and give this one a go. So that's my review of the 1997 classic French action film, Doberman. Alright guys, that's it. That's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. I will leave a scene to this film in the description bar below. So if you want to know what this film's like, then that scene is actually a really good one. So please go and have a look at that. So until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.